Bienvenidos a la sexta clase de este curso de inglés intermedio completamente gratis. I upload a new video every Monday and Thursday, so make sure you subscribe to my channel to receive notifications. And you can join the Facebook group to download this presentation and all of my other resources. Today, we're going to be studying one of the most difficult topics in English language, okay? I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is though, so let's have a look at an example, okay? So here we have a text and it's full of these words in red. Look at this, get up. It's 11 a.m. and you need to get on with your day. You're so lazy. You just drink alcohol and pass out on the sofa. I don't know why I put up with this. All you do is carry on drinking and drinking. This is going to break us up. But what I want to know is, get up. Look at that. Why does it translate as levántate and not conseguir arriba? I know that sounds strange, but look, get is conseguir o obtener, and up means arriba o hacia arriba. So I wonder, get up translates as levántate because it's a phrasal verb, okay? Basically, it's a verb that has two or more parts. That's a phrasal verb. And they're very, very common in English. Get means conseguir o obtener, and up means arriba o hacia arriba. But together, get up, they mean levántate. And that is basically a phrasal verb. Look at this one. Put, poner, up, arriba o hacia arriba, with, con. Poner arriba con. No, significa aguantar. No sé por qué aguanto esto. I don't know why I put up with this. Pass, pasar, out, afuera. Pass out, desmayarse. Carry on. Carry, cargar. On, encima de. Cargar encima. No. Carry on significa seguir. Todo lo que haces es seguir tomando y tomando. This is going to break us up. Break, romper, up, arriba, romper, arriba. No. Separarnos. Esto nos va a separar. So basically, these two words have different meanings, but if you use them together, they become a phrasal verb and they have a different meaning. So today we are going to study the most common phrasal verbs, the three types of phrasal verb, and then we are going to study phrasal verbs in different tenses. So first of all, most common phrasal verbs. So here they are. These are the most common phrasal verbs in English. We have bring up, switch off or switch on, turn off, turn on, put up with, que ya vimos, go out with, call off, carry on, que ya vimos, come across, come up with, fall apart, get along with, sit down, stand up, wake up, get up, put on, take off, get away with, get over, give up, hold on, look after, look up to, look forward to, make up, pass out, que ya vimos, pull over, put down, throw away, hang up, pick up and drop off. These are the most common phrasal verbs. And here I have their translations, okay? So let's have a quick look. This is for vocabulary, right? I did say that I would never teach you vocabulary, but with phrasal verbs, unfortunately, you have to remember a lot of vocabulary. Bring up means resaltar un tema. Switch on or off, apagar o prender. Switch on the TV, prender la televisión. Switch off the TV, apagar la televisión. The same with turn off, turn on. You can turn on the TV, turn off the TV. Put up with, ya vimos, aguantar algo negativo. O sea, aguantas algo negativo. Aguantas un comportamiento negativo o algo así. You put up with negative behavior. Go out with is salir con alguien. So, for example, I go out with my girlfriend. Call off means cancelar. Call off, cancel. For example, I called off the party. I cancelled the party. Carry on, we saw, means seguir. For example, carry on working, seguir trabajando. Come across is aparecer, pero también puede significar encontrar en otro contexto. For example, I don't want to come across as arrogant. No quiero aparecer arrogante. Come up with inventarse como una solución a un problema, come up with. Fall apart, deshacerse. Get along with, llevarse bien con alguien. For example, I get along with my mother-in-law. Me llevo bien con mi suegra. Sit down, I think we know. Stand up, wake up, get up. Put on your clothes. You've probably seen this. And take off your clothes. So these are all very, very common, very basic phrasal verbs, okay? If you've studied basic English in a language institute, then you definitely have seen these. Si han estudiado inglés básico en un instituto de idiomas o lenguas, definitivamente han visto los últimos 6 aquí. Get away, escapar, en el sentido de get away from a situation or get away for a vacation. Get away with something is like zafarse de algo. Por ejemplo, hice algo y le eché la culpa a otra persona, entonces I got away with it, right? Get over, superar, como get over a relationship. Give up, rendirse. Hold on, aguantar en el sentido de aguantas algo por el bien. For example, por el bien en el sentido de que si te caíste de un árbol y te vas a morir and you're holding on like aguantando, and it's good, right? It's good that you're aguantándolo. It's good that you're holding on. Also, for example, if I'm speaking to you on the telephone and I'm speaking to you, but there's a distraction, and I say, "Oh, hold on, aguántame, hold on," and then I deal with the distraction. I come back. Thank you. Hold on, okay? Aguantar in a different sense. Look after, cuidar. Look up to is like respect, respetar. Look forward to is anticipar con ganas. I am looking forward to Christmas. I love Christmas. I am looking forward to. If you think about it literally, mirar hacia enfrente, o sea, estoy viendo el futuro, estoy emocionado. Make up can be inventar. So, for example, I make up an excuse, invento un pretexto, una excusa. Or make up can also be like a repairing of a friendship. Like, we had a big fight, but then we made up. We had a big fight, but then we made up. Pass out, ya lo vimos. Pull over, orillarte en un carro o motocicleta, you pull over. For example, if the police are behind you, you have to pull over. Put down, like dejar algo. For example, I have this phone cover here and I put it down. Throw away, phone cover. Yeah. Tirar a la basura. Hang up. Actually, that's from phones, right? So in the old days, you would hang, colgar un teléfono. Pick up. Where's my phone my phone cover? I pick up, right? Pick up can mean recoger de la mesa o recoger una persona de algún lado, right? I'm going to pick you up at 7 o'clock. And drop off is kind of the opposite, right? So, for example, dejo una persona o dejo una cosa. Sí, te lo voy a llevar. I'm going to drop it off. I drop it off and I go, right? I drop it off. So you heard me say the last example I gave was drop it off. You notice that some of these phrasal verbs can be separate, okay? But we're going to talk about that in a minute. Look at this. Can you please drop off my jacket later today? ¿Me puedes dejar mi chaqueta más tarde hoy? It's possible to say drop it off, but it's not possible to say drop off it. Not okay. But we're going to talk about this in a minute. First of all, I want you to do an exercise to do with vocabulary, okay? So here we go. Go to point number 1 in the description to do the activity. So this is the page for the activity. You have to select the correct option for each sentence, okay? For example, in South Korea, people, when they enter a home, people took their shoes off, taking their shoes off, or take their shoes off. So here you can see the verb take off, quitar, which is something that we saw in the presentation, take off your clothes. Actually, it separates completely, right? Take their shoes off. In this case, we're talking in general and we're talking in the present, okay? So take their shoes off. My friend is arriving from Spain. I'm going to something the city. So show her to, show her off or show her around. In this case, you might need to look in a dictionary to look at the meaning, the significance of show off, show to, and show around. In this case, it's show her around. I was offered a low-paying job. Me ofrecieron un trabajo de mal pago. So I turn down, in this case, means rechazar. Turn off, apagar, no apagas un trabajo. Turn in is entregar. Entregar un trabajo, no. So you should have, again, you can look for these definitions online, okay? You can look for the definitions of turn down, turn off, turn in. In this case, rechazar, turned it down. So there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 5 more for you to do. If you don't know them, for example, turn down, turn off, turn in, search in the dictionary online. For example, word reference is a good dictionary to use. Finish the activity and I'll see you in a moment. I hope that went well. Let's continue. So we've seen some of the most common phrasal verbs, and we saw that some of the phrasal verbs separate, right? So the two parts of the phrasal verb, the object actually moves between the two parts and they separate, like wake me up, right? Not wake up me, but wake me up. So let's look at the different types, because some of the phrasal verbs, they separate, and some of them never separate. So let's have a look. 3 different types of phrasal verb. So here we have turn on again, which is a verb that we've seen before. We can say, for example, I turned on the coffee machine. That's perfect. I turned the coffee machine on. So you see the two parts of the verb have separated and the object is in between the two parts. That's perfect. I turned it on. Si ya sabemos por el contexto de la conversación que estamos hablando de una máquina de café, pues entonces no tenemos que seguir diciendo the coffee machine 1000 veces. I turned it on. Okay, that's also perfect. It's not possible to say I turned on it. Okay, it's interesting. It's kind of a strange rule in English, but if you have an object pronoun and a phrasal verb that is separable, you have to separate when it's an object pronoun. But we'll come to that in a minute. Here's another example. She looks after John. Okay, remember look after, looks after means cuidar. She looks after John. She looks him after, she looks John after, or she looks after him. In this case, look after is not separable. It's not a separable verb, which is why you can't use John between the two parts and you can't use him between the two parts. So turn on is separable and look after is not separable. Okay, so these are 2 different types of verb. We have separable and non-separable. Okay. So both turn on and look after are transitive phrasal verbs. Basically, transitive means they have an object. Okay, for example, here subject is I, the verb is turn on, and the object is the coffee machine. The subject is she, the verb is look after, and the object is John. Okay, so these have objects. Remember, subject plus verb plus object. Remember, it's pretty simple in English, right? Subject, verb, object. The difference is, for example, turn on is separable and look after is not. So these are 2 different types, like I told you. 2 types, and the third type, remember I said there are 3 types of phrasal verb. So we have 1, separable, 2, non-separable, and the third type basically is called intransitive. So remember, transitive means it has an object. Intransitive means it doesn't have an object. So we don't need to worry about separating them because there's no object. So look at this. I get up at 7 a.m. She woke up late. Darren passed out after drinking beer. I don't want to come across as arrogant. These are examples of phrasal verbs that don't have an object. I get up y una hora. Me levanto. I don't have to say I get up myself or I get up me. Well, no, there's no object. It's just a subject and a verb. She woke up. It's a subject and a verb. There's no object, okay? no hay nada como para que separemos el verbo y metemos en medio un objeto, porque no hay objetos en esta oración. Darren passed out. Se desmayó Darren after drinking beer. There's no object. It's just a subject, and he fainted. He passed out. No quiero parecer arrogante. Arrogante es un adjetivo, no es un objeto. So I don't want to come across. No quiero parecer. There's nothing to separate there. So to repeat myself, we have 3 different types of phrasal verb. Transitive separable, transitive non-separable, and intransitive, so no object, okay? Unfortunately, there is no rule to know when. Okay, let's do some more investigating. So here I have a table, right? The intransitive verbs that have no object, okay? No object, no problems. It's easy. Get up, come across, pass out. And then we have these 2 types. The transitive, so they have an object, but they're not separable. And then have an object and they are separable. So a transitive not separable verb, for example, it has an object, but you can never separate the parts, okay? For example, looks after. We don't separate looks after. If a phrasal verb has 3 or more parts, so if it's a phrasal verb with 1, 2, 3 parts or more, then it's definitely not separable. That's one rule. Es una regla que pueden tener en mente, ¿no? Si el verbo compuesto, the phrasal verb, tiene 3 palabras o más, nunca se va a separar. So, eso ayuda. Okay? She looks after doesn't separate. Put up with, aguantar, doesn't separate. Transitive and separable, it has an object and you can decide to separate it or not, right? I can say turn on the TV or turn the TV on. It doesn't matter, it's my decision. But if the object, the TV, is an object pronoun, like for example, it, you must separate the phrasal verb. You have to put it in the center of the 2 parts, okay? Please turn on the TV, perfect. Please turn the TV on, perfect. Please turn it on, perfect. Please turn on it, no. It is an object pronoun, so it has to go in between the 2 parts, okay? Here we have, again, the list of the most common phrasal verbs, and I want you to try to organize them, okay? The best thing you can do is stop the video, go to Google, and Google these phrasal verbs one by one, and look on, for example, Lingui. Look on Lingui for examples of these verbs in a text. And you can see, do they have an object or not? Are they separating or not? Some of them are easier than others, right? For example, if we say get away with, okay, it's 3 parts. I get away with, does it have an object or not? Get away with, zafarme de haber hecho algo. Estamos hablando de algo, ¿no? So I get away with murder. Get away with murder. There's a documentary, I think, on Netflix called How to Get Away with Murder. Get away with murder. Okay, so that's 3 parts. It has an object, so it's definitely going to go here, right? Because remember, if a phrasal verb has 3 or more parts and an object, it's going to be here. So all of the ones that have 3 words and an object, it's going to be here. So look up to, respetar, siempre respetas a alguien o a algo, ¿no? Look up to, si va a tener un objeto, so it's going to be here. So do some investigation, okay? I'm going to tell you the answer, so stop the video. Ready? 3, 2, 1. So here are the intransitive phrasal verbs. Get away doesn't have an object. Hold on, en este caso, en este contexto, doesn't have an object. Pass out, pull over, hang up, carry on, fall apart, sit down, stand up, wake up, get up. In most contexts, these don't have an object. Obviously, wake up, it depends on the context. You could be saying, for example, wake me up at 5. In that case, it has an object and it's separable. It would be over here. But in this context, we're going to put it here, okay? It depends on the context. Transitive, not separable. We have the 3 words, get away with, look up to, look forward to, go out with, come up with, get along with. All of these are 3 words and they have an object, so they're definitely not separable. And then we have get over, okay? Get over, superar. It does have an object porque tienes que superar a algo, ¿no? Superarlo, supéralo. Get over it. But it doesn't separate. We don't say get it over. No, it's get over it. Get over your ex, for example. Superar a tu ex. And then everything else is transitive separable. Give up, make up, put down, throw away, pick up, drop off, bring up, switch on or off, call off, put on, take off. So all of these verbs are separable. Okay, they have an object and the object can go in the middle of the two parts. If the object is an object pronoun, you must separate the phrasal verb and put the object in the center. If it's me, you, him, her, them, you must put the phrasal verb in the center. So we go back to the old example, right? I turned on the coffee machine, I turned the coffee machine on, I turned it on. They're all perfect. But if the object is a pronoun like it, you have to separate. You must separate the phrasal verb and put the object pronoun in between the two parts. Let's try some exercises. Go to point number 2 in the description to open the exercises. So basically, here's the exercise. Decide whether the phrasal verbs are separable or inseparable. Choose the correct sentences. So turn on. Remember, turn on is separable. We've just seen it. So he turned on the light. He turned the light on. They're both fine. I like them both. Hand in. Hand in your homework on time. Hand your homework in on time. Okay, I like them both. Hand in means entregar. You'd have to investigate this on Google and you'd discover that this is also separable. Get on. They got on the bus. They got the bus on. Okay, research this, look at this on Google and decide. I'm going to tell you the answer. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Get on. It has an object, but it is not separable. Okay, it's like look after. You can get on a bus, but you cannot get a bus on, so we're not going to select that. The second activity I want you to do looks like this. We scroll down. Choose whether or not each phrasal verb is separable or not separable in the context of each sentence. Again, context is important because it depends sometimes. Like, for example, wake up, like I said, right? If both responses are acceptable, you can choose both, right? Which is correct? I made up. So remember, make up is inventar. I made up that story. I made that story up. Make up is separable, so they're both fine. I drove to his house up. I drove up to his house. Okay, drove up. Drive up means like acercarme manejando. Search it online, but you will discover that drive up is non-separable. Okay, so you can only say this. I drove up to his house. It's not possible to separate drive up and put the object in the center. It's not separable. Let's do number 3, which is correct. The police blew up the car. Explotaron the car. The police blew up the car. Blow up means like explode. The police exploded the car. The police blew the car up. So if you search on Google, you will discover blow up is separable. So they are both fine. Okay? Finish the activities and I will see you in a moment. I hope that went well. Let's continue. So I wanted to mention again that context is super important. I wake up at 9 a.m. In this case, wake up is intransitive. It means it has no object, okay? But I have to wake my son up now. Tengo que despertarle a mi hijo. Here, wake up has an object, my son, and it's transitive and it's separable, okay? So a good thing to remember is if the verb has 3 words, or it doesn't have an object, then don't worry about it, basically. If it's 2 of the 3 types, you don't really have to worry very much. The only thing you have to try and remember is if it's separable or not. If there is an object, especially if it's an object pronoun, okay, for example, me, you, him, us, them, her, then you need to think about it, okay? So if you're thinking of using a phrasal verb and you're speaking or you're writing in English and you are thinking or considering, I want to use the verb cuidar. Cuidar in English is, I can say care for, but that kind of sounds a bit like Spanglish. So a better way to say it is look after. Now, look after, it has an object, yes. Is it separable or not? You have to think, okay? In this case, look after would be non-separable. So those are the rules for phrasal verbs, but unfortunately, most of the time you just have to remember if the verb is separable or non-separable, if it has an object. Es el tipo de cosa que mientras más lo vas utilizando o más lo vas escuchando, inconscientemente empiezas a recordar, bueno, entonces wake me up before you go. Okay, so wake me up, sí es separable cuando hay un objeto como me, no? So you start to remember things like this. Put my clothes on or try something on. Probar algo de ropa. I'm going to try something on. Okay, so I've heard that expression before. I know that try on is separable and something can go here, or clothes can go here. Try clothes on, right? Okay, phrasal verbs in different tenses. Phrasal verbs are like any other verb in different tenses, but you only need to conjugate the first part, okay? I wanted to mention this because I think it's important. Here's an example. My world is falling apart. Now, this is a verb, fall apart, deshacerse. It doesn't have an object, okay? Subject, verb. So this is an intransitive example. In past, my world fell apart. Se deshizo mi mundo. Right? My world has fallen. Se ha deshecho. My world has fallen apart. So you can see that the first part of the verb, fall, is changing depending on the tense. But the second part, the preposition, is not changing. Right? So we have lots of different tenses. My world se había deshecho, se estaba deshaciendo, se deshacerá, se va a deshacer. So there's lots of different tenses here as an example. Let's look at an example of a non-separable verb. For example, go out with. Remember, 3 parts, so it's not separable. Estoy saliendo con Sara, right? I'm going out with Sarah. Salí con Sara. I went out with Sarah. He salido con, right? Había salido con. So we have, again, the different tenses. And again, the verb is changing only on the first word. From going to went to have gone, had gone, was going, will go, going to go. And again, out with doesn't change. Only the first part changes. And finally, an example of separable, throw away, tirando la basura. Throwing away, threw it away, thrown it away, thrown it away. So again, throw changes. Am throwing, threw. Have thrown, had thrown, was throwing, will throw, am going to throw. And the away stays exactly the same. Okay? One more time, let's do some exercises. Go to point number 3 in the description to do the activities. The first page looks like this, okay? Fill in all the gaps, fill in the spaces, and check your answers, okay? So choose the correct word to complete the sentences. He something for being late. He took me off. He said me off. He told me off. Okay, tell off, in this case it means me regañó. He told me off. Awesome. The factory was by a German business. The factory was taken up, taken over, taken out. In this case, you want to research on Google, take over. Okay, the factory was taken over. So you can see the difference here. Tell becomes told, take becomes taken. I have always looked down, looked up, looked over. Look up to, remember look up to? I have always, this is present perfect tense. Siempre he respetado a mi hermano mayor. I have always looked up to. So you can see here that we have verbs in different tenses, but they are phrasal verbs with 2 or 3 parts. The second activity I want you to do is a very similar page, but here you have to use one of these phrasal verbs, okay? But you have to put it in the correct form. So it might be present, it might be past, it might be present perfect. Let's have a look. In the end, he something and allowed the children. In the end, he something and allowed the chairman to prepare the document. Permitió. Okay, so al final algo pasó y permitió que hicieran un documento. Okay, so calm down es tranquilizarse, figure out, averiguar, give in como doblegarse, insist on, insistir en, mess up como meter la pata, point out, destacar o resaltar, remind of, recordar de algo o alguien, settle down, como establecerse, talk into, convencer, and turn to, deciding on a different option. Okay, so I think in this case, in the end, I think it's going to be give in, like se doblegó y permitió. So this case it looks like it's past. So I'm going to say, in the end, he gave in. He gave in, because give in the past is gave, and allowed the chairman. Okay. I something paying for this meal. You paid for the last one. Okay. I think this is going to be insist. I insist. And that's just simple present, right? I insist on paying. Finish the activities and I will see you in a moment. I hope that went well. Well, that's everything I wanted to see for today's class. So you can see we looked at the most common phrasal verbs, 3 types of phrasal verb, and phrasal verbs in different tenses, okay? This is an introduction to phrasal verbs. We probably will study phrasal verbs again in the more advanced levels. For now, it's time for a song. So today's song is by Bob Marley and it's called Get Up, Stand Up. It's from 1973. It's a very important song in music history. So I want you to find all of the examples of phrasal verbs, please. I'm going to give you the answers, so please stop the video and do the activity. Ready? 3, 2, 1. These are all of the phrasal verbs and there's lots of them, okay? Get up, stand up. Okay, in this case, he's saying levántate 2 different times in different ways. Get up, stand up. But stand up also can mean defend, okay? Defend your rights. Stand up for your rights is like defend tus derechos. Defiende tus derechos. Don't give up. No te rindes en la pelea. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up for your rights. Don't give up the fight. Preacher man, don't tell me. Hombre religioso, preacher man, don't tell me, no me digas que el cielo está por debajo de la tierra. Yo sé que tú no sabes. I know you don't know what life is really worth. ¿Qué es lo que vale la vida realmente? It's not all that glitters is gold. No todo lo que brilla es oro. Half the story has never been told. La mitad de la historia nunca ha sido contada. So now you see the light. Entonces ahora ves la luz. Stand up for your rights. Again, stand up for your rights. It's like defend your rights. Then we have the chorus again, which is the same. And then it says, you see, ves, most people think, la mayoría de la gente piensa, que el gran Dios vendrá de los cielos. The great God will come from the skies. Take away everything, quitar todo, and make everybody feel high. Remember in the last class we studied everything, everybody? Y hacer que todos se sientan como elevados. But if you know what life is worth, si sabes que vale la vida, you will look for yours on earth. Lo buscarás en la tierra. Buscarás esa felicidad en la tierra. And now you see the light. Y ahora que ves la luz, you stand up for your rights. Okay, defiende tus derechos. So he's talking about God here. Basically, he's saying, don't tolerate unfairness. Don't tolerate not having your rights, tus derechos, porque piensas que va a estar todo bien en el cielo después. Y que no vengan los religiosos a decirme que Dios me va a premiar en otra vida. No, yo voy a defender mis derechos ahorita mismo, en esta vida. So he's going to defend his rights right now, and he's not interested in heaven. He's interested in having a good life and searching for happiness on earth, not in heaven. Very good song, very important song. That's everything I wanted to see in today's class. Don't forget that in the description you can find the exam for today's class so you can check your understanding of the topics. Please subscribe to my channel so you can receive notifications every Monday and Thursday when I upload a new video. And don't forget to join the Facebook group where you can download all of my resources and the presentation for this class. Thanks for studying English with me, and I will see you next class.